So there's a movie, I haven't seen the movie, I've just had someone give a talk about it. The premise of it is that there are angels walking among us and the main character can see them. And so the one scene from the talk that I remember is this guy's at a gas station and he's waiting in line. And the person in front of him is buying a few trivial things and gives $1. The things cost less than $1, and so he's getting his change back. And the cashier mistakes the one for a 10 and so gives $9 and some change instead of just the change. And the person notices the mistake and just pockets the money and walks away. And then the main character gets up, and the angel, who's the cashier, says, "Look at how little they sell their souls for." And it really struck me in that I think if someone had gone up to that person and offered them a great deal of money to steal something or to rob a bank or whatever, they wouldn't do it. But because it was this small thing, they rationalized it as not being wrong. So, yeah, that's kind of those, like, that's what your price is. But other times it's the flip side. Like maybe if it's not going to be a big thing, then it's more considered okay. Like if someone would offer you $1 million to go assassinate someone, people would be more likely to do it than if it was $1,000. But if you would do it for any amount of money, you're just haggling over price. So there's a difference of kind, difference of degree between what your price would be versus over here if you wouldn't do it for any amount of money. So pick whatever commandment you want. So it could be the 5th commandment. So for murder, would you do that for money? If you do it for any amount or some amount, would it have to be a high amount? Prostitution, the 6th commandment, or adultery, or theft, the 8th commandment, or with the ancient Roman times, it was more of the 1st commandment, that there is no God but the Lord, and burning incense to the emperor. Some people would say, oh, that's just a little thing, but really that is a big thing. And one that's more common today, the 3rd commandment, keeping holy the Sabbath. By working on the Sabbath, we're not keeping it holy unless that's like, emergency work, so like medical or whatever. And so like, let's say you make $100, that's your price. Your price is $100. So we've got to move towards the I'm not going to do this for any price view. Because then we have a flip side to all of that. These things are all about what is your price for not following. But the flip side would be that when Jesus says, talking about discipleship, he says, who among you who wants to build a tower would not first calculate the cost and count the cost for how much it'll take? Otherwise, you'll lay the foundation and then you won't have enough money to finish it and everyone will laugh at you. Or what king going off to battle would see if he can oppose this other king for the amount of troops he has, and if not, while he's still far away, send a delegation for peace terms. So Jesus is saying you need to know what this will cost, and are you going to give that cost? Because Jesus looked at you and said that you were worth the cost, that you were worth dying for, giving up everything for. And as a result, St. Paul says in Philippians 3:8 that I count all of these things, so all of these benefits he once had, he counts all of them as a loss, as rubbish, as dung. The Greek word behind that is skubala, which means excrement of human or animal, and it's not a pretty word. We would consider it a cuss word in current day English. And that's the word Paul uses to describe every good thing he has, because knowing Jesus is so much better. So the cost is like, oh yeah, this is easy. I'm choosing between excrement and Jesus. So what's your price, and are you willing to pay it?